and thank you for joining us today on the Happiness Quest. My name is Jessica Dutille from the Center for Business and Community Partnerships at Plymouth State University, as well as from the PEMIU Center, thanks to the Service Learning Partnership.
And I'm Dr. Maria Sanders, a philosophy professor with Plymouth State University and CEO of Philosophy for Life. And today on the Happiness Quest show, we're going to be discussing the business of happiness, in particular marketing happiness. Now, the marketing of happiness is by no means something that's new. In fact, we could trace it all the way back to our Declaration of Independence, believe it or not, which I brought some of the verbiage for today.
Great.
That was penned by Thomas Jefferson. And again, everyone will recognize this. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So this is actually a phrase that Thomas Jefferson borrowed, we'll say, from John Locke, the English philosopher, but with one notable difference. John Locke did not include happiness or the pursuit of happiness. John Locke was writing about natural rights, which philosophically means that they pre-exist a sovereignty. So in other words, before we even have a government in place, John Locke viewed human beings as possessing these basic rights to life, liberty, and what Locke outlined as property. Now, when Jefferson pens this portion of the Declaration of Independence, he changes property to pursuit of happiness. And so all the way back to these initial times where our country is literally being founded, we're already, in a sense, marketing happiness. So it's not new. What I do find interesting, though, there seems to be a resurgence of this marketing that is incorporating now, at least in bits and pieces, the science of happiness. So I've brought a number of things for us today, and I see you have some things for us too.
I do, yeah.
I'll start with some companies that are directly marketing happiness. So giving us that idea that to buy my product is to be happy, or buying my product will put a smile on your face. So it's a very direct correlation to happiness.
And based on some of that research.
Some of this is based on the research. Some of it, I think, dates back to even like when we're thinking about the Declaration of Independence, they know happiness sells.
Sure.
And so some of it is that simple. But this is one, it's actually one of my favorites because
I love Dunkin' Donuts.
I do like going to Dunkin' Donuts. And when I first saw this one, it was in a local Dunkin' Donuts here where they had a large poster set up advertising their hot chocolate happiness. And it was right after a fresh snowfall here in New Hampshire. And I thought, yes, that would make me happy.
It evokes a feeling. Absolutely, yeah.
And so this is a very direct marketing. As you can see, it's literally associated directly with their product. Now this is another one, kind of in that realm of that I can relate to, ice cream. So this is Ola's ice cream. And if you notice down in the little corner here, again, it's a direct marketing. Ice cream makes us happy.
Absolutely,
so
it makes me happy.
Makes us happy.
For
and
sure.
We associate it with parties, you know, with joyous events. There are many examples of this. I'm going to take us to Coca-Cola because they're probably one of the leaders in marketing happiness. Now, Coca-Cola, I don't want to oversimplify. They're probably the most extensive in incorporating the science of happiness. So they ran this very extensive campaign called Open Happiness. So open a Coke, open happiness. And this particular ad shows that direct correlation. But as we'll see a little later in today's program, they also incorporated some of the other things that we've been discussing on the show into their ads as well. So these are things that I would consider to be very kind of direct marketing of happiness. So over the weekend, my youngest son, Brandon, and I decided to test the theory that happiness is being very widely marketed. So we went to the local grocery store.
Oh, great.
And in less than an hour, I have a whole buffet of things we're going to look at today. I thought the best place to start is breakfast.
And you know I've been wanting to do this show for a while because this fascinates me. And I have a degree in marketing. And I was a child who watched a lot of commercials. and had
the
21.
message gets
Yeah.
in, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. Went through the grocery store with my parents and picked out those items where I felt like, oh, this is going to make me really happy. And I can remember thinking that. Had 21 Cabbage Patch Kids because the marketing of those Cabbage Patch Kids made me feel like I was doing something good for the world, made me feel like I was creating a home for a doll who otherwise would not have a home. And so this is absolutely fascinating.
And that's
me.
very strategically put in place.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I would strongly encourage, if you've never taken your children or even yourself, really reading labels, not just for the health and nutrition content, which again, I would highly recommend,
Yeah.
but just from a marketing standpoint, that's a very interesting visit to any store, whether it's a grocery store. We're going to focus heavily on food here today,
Right.
but part of that is because when we're recording this, it's lunch hour, so we're going to focus on food.
Right.
But this is true in any department store too. I mean, any of the items, if you
sure.
really look carefully at how they package, how they brand their item, there are all kinds of messages in that branding.
And the message is that to get this product, you're going to feel happier,
You're getting
right?
much more than
so
just the
it's
product.
something, right.
Right.
It's going to make you feel something, and it's something outside of you. It's external. So you're seeking that happiness from a product.
So we're going to start off, and I brought
Okay.
a couple boxes of cereal. I'm going to give one to you.
Great
there.
kicks.
That both of these are marketing happiness. One is by Kellogg's Raisin Bran. The other one is a General Mills product, Kix.
Yep.
Now on mine, you'll notice on both of them they're decorated with bright colors. It's to be very attractive. On the back of each of these, though, is where you're going to find the reference to happiness, where they're marketing happiness. This particular one literally says, enjoy the classic delicious taste of Kellogg's Raisin Bran Crunch Apple Strawberry, and you'll smile your way through the day.
Well, there you
it's
go.
kind of like in this little print. And then what
And
is
then this
Kix
one
giving us?
says, great kicks taste equals happy kids.
Right. So there's
Right.
actually a formula included in that one.
Right.
And in the cereal aisle, lots of examples of
Yeah.
where they're marketing directly, especially to children. But that smile, happiness, joy idea being directly marketed. So those are our cereals.
You have Swiss cake rolls?
Yeah.
Love those.
Oh, yes.
Do we taste test them on the air?
Of course you love them. What are they?
Because I'm about to unwrap a smile.
There you go.
Right?
You unwrap a smile.
And on the go. But things like this bring back memories, right, of when I was a child. And I would find a Swiss cake roll in my lunch box at school. So, I mean, part of that marketing towards that sense and that feeling of happiness.
Well, and when we start tying it back to our memories,
Yeah.
again, that's going far beyond
Right.
even maybe the intended trigger
Sure.
in the branding that's included.
So unwrap a smile.
Unwrap a smile with Little Debbie Swiss rolls. This one, I purchased this from the grocery store, but the first time I had this product was actually at Burrito Me, so a local restaurant here in Plymouth. And it's Hubert's Lemonade, where their little catchphrase is only the best will do, and they have that included in a lot of their marketing. But when I was first drinking one of these, it wasn't until I had it almost
to the
completely
back.
consumed. And I was looking on the back and reading their little paragraph, because they have quite the extensive little paragraph on the back. And it literally points out that Hubert's Lemonade is irresistible, a tasty, refreshing mix of sweet and tart. Our sun-ripened lemons are squeezed to please and mixed for a taste that makes you go, ah, every time. And then here's the catch. It's happiness in a bottle.
In a bottle.
And I thought, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize it was happiness
You
in a
could buy
bottle.
happiness
You can
from
buy
a
it
bottle, yeah.
in a bottle or in a roll with your Swiss rolls.
That's great.
So here's, I guess, the important question for us as we're thinking about the science of happiness. Do these products make us happy? Let's ask the tough question. You just said, and when I pulled this up, you lit up.
I know. I love
Does the Swiss roll,
My mom still buys these for my kids, but I'll sneak one now and then.
does it
They're
make
delicious.
you happy?
It depends how we're defining happiness, right? And we keep going back to that. In a moment, the pleasure in the moment. So this actually brings me to what I brought. I, as you know, just got back from Washington, D.C. We went on a little family vacation, and we stayed in the Hampton Inn in Sterling, Virginia. And we walk in the front door, And of course, I have this happiness quest on my mind, and this is what we see. Making you happy makes us happy. Right on the wall. And I think to myself, well, I am in the right place here.
There you go.
Here I am. And of course, I brought one. Here are the kids with that sign on the wall. And it's not just the wall, right? They have rugs, they have carpets.
Sure.
Making you happy makes us happy. And I thought from the beginning, I wonder how happy am I going to be here? And their Hampton Inn shuttle has that. And of course, this is our good friend Juan Carlos, who we met, who the reason I have a picture of Juan Carlos is because he did make us happy. He was exceptional. So he helped the kids with their breakfast in the morning. He would ask us every day, how's your vacation going? Is there anything you need? And I will say this experience was a really positive experience. We had so much fun here, and the staff worked really hard to implement this motto.
Well, I was going to say, notice how comprehensive this
Yes.
is, because it's all the layers and it's very customer driven.
Yes.
Rather than product driven.
Right. And it was an experience, right?
Right.
So when we talked in the past about how you spend your money in a way that cultivates happiness, well, this was a memory that we created for our children and for our family. And I would absolutely say that investment was well spent. So
Because you were buying an experience.
because I was buying an
at that point.
experience,
So
yeah.
come back to the question then around the Swiss rolls. This isn't buying necessarily an experience, especially if I'm not incorporating this into any other function. Like when it's being placed in your lunch box,
Right.
going to school, there's a bit more of an experience there.
Sure.
But if I just go to the store, I buy this product, I look on the back, it says unwrap a smile on the go. It's like,
Yep.
okay, I want a smile.
Right.
So I unwrap one, I consume it. I don't tie it to any other experience at all.
Yeah.
Will I result in happiness? And the quick answer really is yes.
Yeah,
You
in
will.
that
There-
moment.
There's a reason why
Yeah,
they
in
can
that moment.
associate that.
Right.
It's
But is it
short-term.
long-term happiness?
No.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Right.
Not unless, like, in your experience, you tie it to an experience.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
just in that moment, really what we're feeling is the release of those endorphins. If you
Yes.
think about it, this is true of all
And it's
comfort
sugar.
food. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
your sugar-based
yeah.
foods, your comfort
Yep.
foods, there's a reason why we call them comfort foods.
Right.
They do make us happy
In
very
that moment.
temporarily in that moment. And unfortunately, though, because it's a temporary type of happiness, it could actually make us miserable in the long term. It can actually do long-term damage,
Right.
which is another side of thinking about not just the scientific application of happiness research, but as a philosopher, the ethical side of applying what we've learned about happiness in a responsible way. But we'll talk a little
Yeah.
bit today also about corporate responsibility.
Sure.
Because many of them are embracing.
And the
that
ethical
corporate
implications when you are marketing your product as something that will bring your customers happiness, right? And especially the ethical implications of marketing towards children.
Right.
Yeah. In the cereal aisle.
Some of the responsibilities on us
Oh, for
as
sure.
adults to actually pay attention,
Yeah.
which we don't always do. All right, you lit up when you saw the Swiss rolls.
I
This
love
is where I
Nutella.
light up, is
Yeah.
Nutella. But this one actually surprised me because I do use this product a lot, and yet I'd never seen the direct reference to happiness until we were looking for it. This is one of them that my son found when he was reading the labels. Now this is a little snack pack which has breadsticks with it, and then you can see kind of the Nutella you dip it in, a little snack pack. And on the back here it literally says Nutella and go, it's happy to go, spread the happy.
Love it.
So again, direct correlation between their product
Yep.
and happiness itself. Now this one though has an interesting play on words, because obviously it is a spread, so they're
Yeah.
using spread the happy in that context. But it also has an implicit connection to the scientific research on happiness, where happiness is shared tends to have a longer benefit
Impact,
to the
yeah.
individual who's going to self-report their level of happiness than if I try to keep that happiness or that even that experience just to myself. If we share it, there's more of a reward
Right.
presented. And of course, if I go back to Coca-Cola, who we started with earlier, this is one of the avenues of the science research on happiness that they played into in many different ways. I brought two of them here. The top one is, you may recall when they had the cans and the bottles had someone's name on them, and it was kind of like share a Coke with a friend you haven't met yet. And so it was playing off of this idea that having meaningful friendships
And
raises our
connection
level
with somebody else,
of happiness. And then on the bottom side of this sheet are the hug machines, which we had one on the Plymouth campus here about a year and a half ago.
I remember, yeah.
And these hug machines are designed that instead of putting your money into the machine, you hug it, and then it gives you a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
They also have trucks that quite often they'll drive through more depressed areas in the world that may be struggling financially. And it'll be in that very easily recognizable red color that you associate with Coca-Cola and their branding. And on the back will be a large button that just simply says push. And of course, eventually they pull this truck in, they'll just park it in a neighborhood.
People are
Someone's
curious.
going to come up and push the button. It takes time, but someone will come up and push the button. And when they do, it always starts with a can of Coca-Cola or a bottle of Coca-Cola being passed through the back of this truck. But this is the interesting phenomenon, and I know we've talked about this before on this show, is if you pursue happiness through that first definition of happiness as a feeling, it becomes almost like an addiction.
Sure. And you always have to increase
it's hard to
your
fulfill
exposure.
it.
Yeah.
And so Coca-Cola discovered that with their trucks, because they would give a single can or a single bottle of Coke out about 3 or 4 times in a row, and then they'd have to step it up. And it usually went to giving a couple cans of Coke, or 3 or 4. And then that wasn't even working anymore. So then they were passing out other items. It might
gifts.
start with a stuffed animal or something that was still moderately priced. But eventually, depending on the location where the truck was parked, I've seen them pass out surfboards if they were by the beach. They were passing out all kinds of electronics.
All of a sudden, the Coca-Cola wasn't enough.
Well, and
so
it
you get that
wasn't
feeling.
even in the gift giving anymore. It wasn't like they got a surfboard and a can of Coke. It was just the surfboard.
Right.
And so that's where we see the happiness as a feeling becoming almost an addiction of sorts.
Yeah.
So it's a dangerous road to go down if that's the only approach.
And as human beings, as we're trying to fulfill our lives, if we're only looking externally for that happiness, that sense of happiness, that fleeting feeling, if you will, then we're not moving towards that definition of eudaimonia, that long-term flourishing life.
Exactly. So one of the steps towards this then is making connections. So we start with connections with other individuals, but then we also move to broader connections with groups of individuals or the community at large. So here I have a jar of marinara by Newman's, and it literally advertises right on the top that this is 100% profits going to charity, even though it doesn't specify which charity. But you're doing something good.
But there's a feeling there. I'm contributing to something good,
And if you read on, they have a little box on the side here that, again, they don't directly tie it to this charity. But it says, here's one of the charities that Paul cared deeply about. Again, Paul Newman being the person they're tying this back to. And it's called Serious Fun Children's Network. And as it goes on, it says Serious Fun Children's Network is a network of camps founded by Paul Newman, gives children coping with serious illnesses joy, confidence, and lots of fun. Serious Fun, you can help through basically buying their products or going even directly to, they include a website for this particular charity. Now again, nowhere in there did they say you purchasing this is going to go.
And it doesn't indicate the percentage of that sale and how much is going to either that charity or something else.
It does claim 100% profits.
Okay.
So to some charity.
Yeah.
But you can see what they're tying it to is one that's promoting joy, tied to children, not just any old children, which would be enough. Children and puppies are kind of enough to get our attention. But these are going to be seriously ill children. So when you talk about making a connection to your community, feeling like you're doing something more than just buying a food product that you're going to consume, they've captured it here.
For sure. I actually have an example of that. So I purchased Dove products. We've talked about this before. And this is the beauty campaign with Dove, right? So making every girl and woman feel beautiful in their own skin, and proceeds from purchasing Dove products go towards programs that empower young women. And so that really was a hook for me. And I work in youth empowerment, so I felt like, well, that is a worthy cause. And again, going back to children and making them feel good about who they are in their own skin. So I'm a loyal customer.
Well, and when we think about the impact, when you're standing in the aisle at a department store, and you're looking at all these different types of soap that really go to great lengths to try to stand out, but they're similar products. The fact that one adopts this very responsible approach towards their community, it's a hook.
It is a hook,
It's a
because
hook
what
for a
do
lot
we
of people.
usually see with beauty products is you have to buy this in order to feel good about yourself.
Well, it's to change you.
Right? So to change you from what you are now to something better, something that's perceived as better, right? And so what I like about this campaign, even though this still is beauty products, it's investing some money into helping girls feel good about themselves and their own skin.
So again, what we're
That's
seeing
enticing.
is this attempt to go beyond just the immediate purchase that we're making, but to make a larger difference.
Right.
And in general, I think that's what's it's not completely new, but semi-new in what we're seeing in marketing and how they're using marketing. Some of it is about making happy customers, and we have some examples, and we can go on with those. But there's also this avenue of making happy communities and even happy employees, that we see a focus nowadays that hasn't always been there on flexibility in work schedules, on different ways of rewarding and crediting individuals who achieve great things either on or off the job. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be something that is occurring while they're at work, but if they can take credit for that employee and their actions, they do so. And it may be certificates, it may be little gifts or giveaways, but there's like layers to this idea of having a happy environment.
Workplace environment,
around
yes.
businesses.
I have a friend who works for Google in San Francisco, and I have never been there on site, but what she describes as her work environment is just phenomenal in terms of the supports available to employees. Childcare and gym access and snacking and restaurants on site.
It becomes its whole
It
inner
is,
community.
yeah.
You know?
And she's very loyal to that company because she feels well supported.
Well, and if you think about it, we have a bit of that advantage as well working for a university. Because I think this is true of most universities. I know it's definitely true of Plymouth State University. There are so many like additional community type benefits that we have these multiple communities happening. We have a community on campus, and then we have the broader community that we interact with. But if you think about the number of like theatrical productions that we can go to, or
for
music concerts, or speeches, or talks.
That bring the
or-
community together.
Right. And that a lot of it is very community based, very community focused. Okay, so you mentioned eudaimonia a little earlier, which is the definition for happiness that we've been incorporating, living a full and flourishing life. You can buy that as well.
Okay, great.
I have learned.
Excellent.
Chocolate chip cookies, of course, that would be a
Love
good place
them.
to start. This is by a company literally called Enjoy Life. Okay,
That's great.
so it's in their initial marketing as well. But if you read up on how they describe their product, they say at Enjoy Life, our whole business is making smile good foods that keep people's insides happy. So
That's
it's
great.
important to be happy inside and out. That's why all of our foods are specially made from gluten-free and are free from 8 of the most common allergens. So notice what they're now starting to move towards is not simply a quick fix, buy this cookie, you'll be happy. They're already acknowledging in their marketing that it's a little longer term plan.
Yep.
You know, that
Higher quality nutrition.
healthy lifestyles, there's going to be more that goes into it to have that full life, which again is what they're promoting, is living that full life. Let's see what else we have here. Sunsweet prunes. This one as well literally is playing off of the energy that you're producing for your body. It says, we believe making good food choices are critical to treating your body right and living life to its fullest. They literally spell it
great.
out. Provide the nutrition that you need to keep your body feeling good and energized. And then in a little box, a little capsule, they have an ongoing, on their product line, list of feel-good facts. So
That's
we've
fantastic.
got fact number 12 here.
And another healthy product for
Another
you.
healthy product. So you start to see this emergence of health-related type products. Here we have some cornbread. This is Glutino. Literally on the back under Glutino it says live fully. So again, playing off of that full and flourishing life idea. And so again, in their eyes, you find that through cornbread.
Excellent.
I think really the lesson for us to learn from
this must have been fun for Brandon.
Oh, this was fun.
Yeah.
This was for both of us. It was a lot of fun. But as we look at our little buffet of happiness, the lesson really to be taken from it is first to really think, critically reflect upon the choices we're making. The more informed we are as customers, that we really are responsible for our own happiness. And to realize that even though the marketing of happiness is very commonplace nowadays, that doesn't necessarily mean they're all marketing in the same way. That some of the marketing is very direct, simplistic marketing to happiness as a feeling. Buy my product, you'll be happy. And again, it's not dishonest. You probably will be in the short term. So it's that very temporary. But if what you're truly looking for is a more long-term impact, and you're searching for that in some of the marketing to discern between it, food products, you're going to have to look at things that are going to bring a long-term benefit. So more of that full and flourishing life long-term. Beyond food products, I would say we're looking towards like the wellness industries, the things that, again, tie experiences to our purchases and aren't simply just a direct purchase, a product-based purchase. Right. So look for those companies that focus more on you, focus on the customer rather than the product that they're producing.
Excellent. Well, thank you. This has been really fun today.
Another fun show.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us.